Good morning, guys. We're going to start a new project today, which is trying to make a little text adventure game. So you have this handout in Classroom. Assuming you're in my class and you're not just watching the video for fun. So what we're going to try and do is make a little, what's called a text adventure game. And with that, you kind of, you're given a scenario and you decide what to do. Okay, so here is a very, very classic one. It's called Zork. I'll share this online so you guys can have a try as well. And the idea is it gives you what's happening. So west of the house, you're standing in an open field west of the White House, with a boarded front door. There's a small mailbox here. Now, what we have to do with this one is we have to know the commands and type them, but you're going to give them options instead. But for example, if we say open mailbox, so opening is a leaflet, read leaflet. Okay, and then it goes through this, and so basically you get to choose what's happening inside of the game. It's kind of like you might have seen one of those storybooks where you have to you read it and you decide what to do, and then you go to page 9 if you choose to do this, or you go to page 100 if you choose to do something else. Okay, now the most important thing here is don't start coding yet. So we need to plan. So just like in other subjects like DT and art, we start with our analysis, then we go to design, and then we go to coding, and then we go to testing, and then maintenance after if doing a real project. So first of all, we have to think about what are we going to do with our story. You get some suggestions down here, but feel free to come up with your own idea as long as it's school safe. We're happy with that. And then we want to try and plan it out at least a little bit using a flowchart. Now, we did flowcharts recently in class, but just to remind you, you start with an ellipsis, and you can give them colors and stuff if you want. Start, and start. I'm going to make to be a nice light green. There we go. And then you decide what's going to happen. So first of all, we might start with a display introduction. Oh, I have to say display something. Sorry, I'm wrong. It should be a telegram. Display intro. And we can join that together as an arrow here. And then we might give them a situation. So again, this will be another parallelogram. So describe what the situation is going to be. So this one was outside of the mailbox. Maybe I'm going to do in a cave or something. Uh, cave. See, now you can give it more detail if you want, but as long as you are kind of okay with what's happening, you can tell me or you can tell others what's happening in that scene, then I'm okay with that as well. All right, let's do this. Okay, now we're going to give the user some options. Now let's say the first time we give them two options. So it's going to be, for example, we give them an option, say choice, enter cave, or search outside. Maybe that a little bit bigger, just so they all fit in. Okay, yeah, I can make it blue again if I want. And then I'm going to decide what they do. So they're going to choose enter cave or search outside. And then depending on that, we can say if cave. So if they choose the cave, then they're going to get a different story for when they enter the cave. Maybe if they enter the cave, they find a body. I guess it's turning into a bit of a horror one, but okay. Wasn't intended. If they search outside the cave, maybe they uh, find backpackers. Okay, so, and then we can keep going from there. We can add on more and more and more and give them more decisions, more decisions, more decisions. But we want to have at least a rough plan of where the story's going to go, because that's going to make it a lot easier when it comes to us coding it out, because we'll be able to keep track of things a lot better. And you'll be able to prove to yourself as well that, okay, I've coded it the way it's supposed to be actually coded, rather than I just went with where the code happened to fit. All right. And so we'll develop those stories further. Now, just to get you thinking, is if you're going to do it at a more advanced level, we might also want them to have to like pick up items, like be able to pick up the equipment and keep it in their stash. We might want to give them hit points so that if they get injured, we might want to give them different skills, like if it was anyone who's played Dungeons and Dragons or any of these games. For example, maybe if they have to climb in the cave, we have to roll a random number and see if they are, I don't know, fit enough to climb the cave. If not, they fall down, and there's different things that are going to happen depending on that situation. So we don't need to plan those in just yet, unless you really, really want to, but really just plan out a rough situational scenario as to what's going to happen. Okay, and then we'll move on to actually coding things a bit later on as well. Alrighty, good luck with that. Get started. And then we'll move on to actually coding things.